The year is 1910. It's the second year since Pwai took the throne, and Japanese militarism has begun its iron-fisted colonial rule over Korea. During this dark time, a divide emerged in Korean society. On one side, you had people willing to hand their country over to the Japanese on a silver platter just for a taste of wealth and status. One of these lapdogs was a man named Inguk. We see him here, groveling and bowing submissively before the first Japanese Governor-General Masatake. But out of nowhere, a bomb flies into the scene. A young patriot loads his rifle, guns down the Japanese guards, and moves in for the kill on Masatake. However, during the chaotic assassination attempt, the young man is shot and collapses. In a desperate move to prove his loyalty, Inguk ignores the danger to his own life, throws Masatake onto his back, and carries him away from the scene. That night, a group of military police arrived at Inguk's house to praise his heroic actions. Following standard procedure, the captain asks Inguk if he had mentioned today's secret meeting to anyone else. Inguk, terrified, doesn't dare admit his wife was there, but just as he turns to question her, she unexpectedly confesses that she was the one who leaked the information. It gets worse. Inguk discovers that the assassin from earlier is actually hiding inside his own home. He knows that if the Japanese find out, he's dead meat. Under the watchful eyes of the military police, his wife lies, claiming she is taking their 2 infant daughters to her mother's house. In reality, she's smuggling the young patriot out with them. But the moment his wife leaves, Inguk gives a cold-blooded order to his butler. Kill everyone except for his 2 daughters. Yes, that included his own devoted wife. During a brutal high-speed chase, the young patriot gets one of his fingers shot off while trying to protect the children. Luckily, a nanny manages to escape with one of the babies. However, on the other side, the wife is cornered by the butler. After her baby girl is snatched from her arms, she is killed on the spot. Fast forward 20 years. Inguk has used his Japanese connections to hoard a massive fortune, supplying materials for Japan's wars of aggression. But the resistance is growing stronger by the day. In Hangzhou, China, the man known as the Father of Korea, Kim, has established the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea. He meets with the leader of the Korean Independence Army, Kim Won-bong, and a police captain named Suk-jin. As it turns out, Suk-jin is the same young patriot who survived that assassination attempt all those years ago. Kim calls them together to plan a secret mission, a cleanup operation to eliminate traitors in the Korean capital. To prevent any leaks, Kim orders Suk-jin and Kim Won-bong to act separately. Suk-jin is tasked with finding 3 elite assassins. The first 2 are an explosives expert and a gunner named Suksapo. Suk-jin tracks them down to a nationalist prison in Tianjin, arriving just as the 2 are attempting a prison break. The final piece of the puzzle is a Korean woman named Oh Yoon. She's a top-tier sharpshooter from the 3rd Division of the Independence Army, currently facing a death sentence for accidentally shooting a superior during an operation. When Suk-jin sees Oh Yoon's thick glasses and poor eyesight, he seriously doubts her skills, but she shuts him up pretty quickly. That night, as Japanese troops sneak up on the Independence Army camp, Oh Yoon declares she won't leave until she takes out the enemy machine gunner. Peering through her broken glasses, she expertly loads 4 rounds. Even though the machine gunner is 200 meters away, she takes him out with a single perfect shot. Following this, she's sent to a hotel in Shanghai to wait for the mission to begin. At this point, Suk-jin has no idea that Oh Yoon is actually the little girl whose life he risked everything to save 20 years ago. Being in Shanghai for the first time, Oh Yoon tries her very first cup of coffee. She thinks it tastes terrible, until she notices the man next to her adding sugar. She starts to copy him, even mimicking the way he sucks on a sugar spoon, trying to look natural in a world she's never known. At that very moment, their eyes lock. Oh Yoon's playful and charming look is enough to make any man's heart skip a beat, and this man is no exception. But the vibe quickly shifts when a squad of police bursts into the room. Staying alert, Oh Yoon secretly hides a steak knife up her sleeve, ready for the worst. The man, who has been quietly observing her every move, calmly walks over and pulls her into his arms. He lies to the police, claiming they are a married couple. Thanks to their perfect acting, they manage to bypass the inspection without a hitch. The man tries to ask for her name, but Oh Yoon is far too cautious to give it up. Before they part ways, he ties his own yellow silk scarf around her as a parting gift. Little do they know, their story is far from over. That night, Oh Yoon successfully meets with Kim Won-bong, who immediately briefs the 3-person team on their mission. The targets: General Kawaguchi, the commander of the occupying forces, and Inguk, Korea's most notorious pro-Japanese traitor. Once they reach the capital, a local contact will assist them. To ensure the mission's success, Kim appoints Oh Yoon as the team leader. However, this decision doesn't sit well with the 2 men in her crew. They aren't exactly thrilled about taking orders from her. Shortly after Ok-yoon's team departs, Japanese agents raid the Marabo Hotel. They come up empty-handed, but the raid sends a clear message to Kim Wonbong. There is a rat in their ranks. His prime suspect, Suk-jin. Suk-jin had been captured by the Japanese before. Did he really escape, or did he break under pressure and sell out his country? Kim isn't ready to jump to conclusions, but Suk-jin secretly overhears the entire conversation. When Kim eventually confronts him, Suk-jin puts on a dramatic performance of heartbreak. To prove his loyalty, he grabs a gun and fires 2 shots into his own body without hesitation. He then demands to go back to Shanghai to find the real traitor. But Kim isn't that easy to fool. He secretly orders his subordinates to tail Suk-jin. If he so much as breathes near a Japanese official, he's to be shot on the spot. Sure enough, as soon as Suk-jin returns to Shanghai, he meets with a Japanese agent. To sabotage the assassination mission without blowing his own cover, they hire a famous bounty hunter from the Hawaii gang. Even though these mercenaries are Korean, they have no loyalty, they only kill for cold, hard cash. Suk-jin offers them $3,000 per head, lying to them by claiming that Ok-yoon and her team are actually traitors to the Independence Army. But just as they leave the meeting, Kim's spies move in for the kill. In the ensuing struggle, Suk-jin manages to counterattack and kill both spies on the spot. Realizing his cover is officially blown, he knows he can't stay there, but he's confident he'll find a use for his talents elsewhere. Meanwhile, back in the capital, Ok-yoon's team meets their contact, a woman who runs a local tavern. Beneath the floorboards of her bar lies a secret headquarters filled with anti-Japanese officers. They learn that In-guk is planning to marry his daughter off to General Kawaguchi's son to strengthen their alliance. The plan is set. In 5 days, the 2 families will have breakfast together. The route they take will be the perfect kill zone. If everything goes smoothly, the tavern owner will smuggle them out on a ferry that night. The day before the hit, the tavern owner notices Ok-yoon is still wearing her broken glasses and decides to buy her a new pair. While Ok-yoon is getting fitted at the department store, a girl who looks exactly like her appears in the same building. This is Mitsuko, In-guk's daughter. Mitsuko catches a glimpse of Ok-yoon, but by the time she chases her outside, Ok-yoon is gone. Confused, Mitsuko asks her butler about it. She's always been told her twin sister died as a baby, but she just saw a literal ghost of herself in the mall. The butler pretends it was just a misunderstanding, but the moment her back is turned, he takes a photo of Mitsuko in front of the glasses shop to investigate. Sure enough, he finds the address Ok-yoon left behind. That night, a mysterious man begins shadowing Saksapo. Saksapo notices immediately and knows this guy is bad news. But before the bullets start flying, he calmly stops to tell the man a fable. Saksapo drops a chilling analogy. Most people don't realize that a wild boar is actually a fierce beast, capable of brutal resistance. But once you castrate it, it becomes docile, and its meat becomes tender. To the Japanese, Korea right now is just like that, a broken, castrated animal. As soon as those words leave his lips, neither man gives the other a single opening. In the heat of the struggle, Saksapo's leg gets caught in a fence. Seizing the moment, Hwang quickly snatches up a gun. After 2 consecutive shots ring out, Saksapo disappears into the darkness of the night. Back at the base, the team waits, but Saksapo never returns. Not wanting to delay the mission, the tavern owner's assistant steps up to take Saksapo's place. The entire street is crawling with Japanese soldiers. Just as In-guk and his group prepare to board their vehicles, the military police captain receives a flash report. An assassination is imminent. It turns out Suk-jin had already reached the capital and snitched to the Japanese immediately. Suk-jin even warns them that Ok-yoon looks exactly like In-guk's daughter, Mitsuko. But the elder Kawaguchi is far too arrogant to care. He doesn't take these assassins seriously at all. Before leaving, In-guk insists on switching cars with another group as a precaution. Before long, the hit squad successfully takes control of a nearby gas station. Everyone moves into their designated positions. But as Ok-yoon lines up her shot on the car at the station, the attendant realizes the targets aren't actually inside. He tries his best to block Ok-yoon's line of sight, but the explosives expert refuses to wait and hurls a grenade. The massive explosion sends the military police into a frenzy, surrounding the station while the target car tries to speed away. Having missed her best window, Ok-yoon switches to a machine gun and begins spraying the vehicle with a hail of bullets. The car loses control under pressure. Just as Ok-yoon moves in for the kill, Hwang suddenly appears at a window, standing directly in her way. Surprisingly, Hwang doesn't pull the trigger. At the same time, Ok-yoon fires toward him, though she likely misses on purpose. But by taking the shot, her position is completely exposed. Realizing the mission is falling apart, The two bombers drive their own vehicle straight into the path of the target car to block its escape. One of them is gunned down by Japanese reinforcements. The explosives expert desperately dives behind In-guk's car, but Kawaguchi opens fire on him. With more and more Japanese troops closing in, Okyun, determined not to go down without a fight, grabs her machine gun and makes a break for the car to escape. In the chaos, In-guk heartlessly abandons his own daughter who had fallen to the ground, fleeing the scene with Kawaguchi in a different vehicle. When Okyun finally reaches the spot, she comes face to face with Mitsuko, who looks exactly like her. At that exact moment, a bullet tears into Okyun. She is quickly captured by the Japanese. Meanwhile, Hwang is also apprehended, framed as one of the primary conspirators of the hit. When Okyun finally wakes up, she's in a transport truck headed for the military police station, with Hwang leaning right next to her. Through their conversation, the pieces start to fall into place. Mitsuko is likely her twin sister, and the traitor she's been trying to kill, In-guk, is actually her biological father. But they have bigger problems. They need to get out of there fast. Noticing a Japanese soldier leering at Okyun's legs, Hwang suddenly hatches a plan. It's an uncomfortable situation for her, but to escape, Okyun plays along. The soldier, lured in and distracted, opens the door. That's when Hwang strikes. He fights his way out and helps Okyun scramble onto the roof of the truck. Hwang managed to hijack the driver's seat, but the severely injured Okyun is nearly thrown off as the police give chase. Just as the cops are about to open fire on her, a motorcycle roars into view. It's Young Gam, the other member of the Hawaii gang, and Hwang's loyal partner, coming in for the rescue. Under Young Gam's cover fire, they finally manage to slip away. In her final moments of consciousness before blacking out on Hwang's lap, Okyun whispers her true identity. She is the sniper of the 3rd Division, Korean Independence Army. At this point, Hwang finally realizes the truth. He's been played by Suk-jin. He rushes Okyun to a hospital and, at gunpoint, forces a doctor to surgically remove the bullet. But the very first thing Okyun does when she regains consciousness is reach for her gun. She's determined to finish the mission no matter what. Seeing her resolve, Hwang tells her a story. He tells her about 8 pro-Japanese traitors who were granted the title of Baron by the Japanese. Their sons, however, formed a secret alliance to kill their own fathers for the sake of the nation. But, fearing they wouldn't be able to pull the trigger on their own blood, they made a pact to kill each other's fathers instead. To Hwang, while this was a passionate act, it was ultimately meaningless. He looks her in the eye and asks, "Does killing 1 or 2 traitors really change the fate of this country?" But Okyun doesn't care about his philosophy. She's focused on the goal. While Hwang is out of the room, she slips away. When Young Gam goes in to check on her, she's already gone. As Hwang and Young Gam exit the hospital, they run straight into a massive crowd of Japanese soldiers conducting street inspections. A soldier marches toward them. With no way to avoid the confrontation, Hwang does the unthinkable. He walks right up and slaps the Japanese soldier across the face. Then, in perfect, high-class Japanese, he demands to know which unit the soldier belongs to. Terrified by his aura, the soldiers mistake Hwang for a high-ranking officer. Still, one official insists on seeing his papers. Just then, a car pulls up, and all eyes turn toward the passenger. It's an elite official, and he recognizes Hwang immediately. It's none other than General Kawaguchi's son. It turns out that on the way to the capital, Hwang, disguised as a Japanese officer, had shared a train carriage with him. With young Kawaguchi's personal endorsement, no one dares to question Hwang's identity again. But in that moment, a few young Korean girls accidentally bump into Kawaguchi while he's talking. His expression turns predatory. The girl hurriedly stepped forward to apologize. Seeing Kawaguchi say nothing, Hwang gestured for her to leave. Unexpectedly, Kawaguchi called her back. A young Korean girl like that had died right before Hwang's eyes. Kawaguchi hadn't even boasted yet. This was the 300th Korean he had killed. He gave Hwang his business card, hoping Hwang could handle security for his wedding tomorrow. Hwang said nothing outwardly, but his anger flared up. He vowed that Kawaguchi's life wouldn't last much longer. Meanwhile, Suk-jin arrived at In-guk's house. He had hidden there when he assassinated the Japanese years ago. 20 years had passed, and the passion and spirit of the past were gone. He took out a photo of Okyun and told In-guk that the person who had assassinated them that morning was his daughter, who had been kidnapped all those years ago. If this were exposed, his fortune and status would vanish in an instant. At that moment, the butler reported that he might be able to find Okyun's whereabouts. Okyun was tending to her wounds, completely unaware of the danger lurking. But the first to appear was Mitsuko. The two sisters had met under such circumstances. Though identical in appearance, Their personalities were worlds apart. Like the divided country on the peninsula, Mitsuko brought clothes for Ok-yoon and wanted to take her home. She believed that her great-grandfather would surely resolve everything for them. Just then, someone came upstairs. Mitsuko told her to hide quickly. She was the older sister and now the daughter-in-law of the commander of the outpost. She believed no one would dare harm her, not even a single hair. But as soon as she picked up the knife, 2 Japanese soldiers burst in, followed by the father she trusted most. Suk-jin then carefully searched the room. But by then, Ok-yoon had already jumped out the window and escaped. Ok-yoon was still in shock, unable to believe what had just happened. But the taxi driver called Ok-yoon back. A normal person would be completely unable to distinguish between Ok-yoon and Mitsuko. And a bold idea had formed in Ok-yoon's mind. Very quickly, Ok-yoon boldly entered the Inguk house. Everyone in the mansion mistook Ok-yoon for Mitsuko. As long as she didn't say anything, no one could detect her deception. When she entered Mitsuko's room, she saw that her twin sister had lived a completely different life from her own since childhood. But when she turned around and saw Mitsuko's wedding dress, the tears of horror and sorrow could no longer be held back. That night, under the cover of darkness, Ok-yoon left her room just as Ok-yoon is about to pull the trigger on Inguk. The butler suddenly enters the room. Trying to be helpful, he advises the young lady to get some rest, mentioning that they had finally tracked down her twin sister's location earlier that day. But Mitsuko, or rather, Ok-yoon, who was usually obsessed with this news, acts completely cold and indifferent. This small slip-up is all the butler needs to realize something is horribly wrong. He lunges into the room, knocking Ok-yoon to the floor with a punch, and immediately reaches for the telephone to alert the military police. But Ok-yoon doesn't hesitate. She seizes the moment, grabs the telephone cord, and strangles the butler to death right there on the floor. Meanwhile, Hwang has managed to get Younggam safely onto a departing boat. Despite Younggam's desperate pleas for him to leave, Hwang decides to stay behind alone. At the same time, Saksapo, badly wounded and barely clinging to life, drags himself back to the tavern. The tavern owner tells him the mission was a total failure and that everyone else is dead. She begs him to run for his life, but Saksapo is a man of steel. He looks her in the eye and declares that even if he's the last man standing, he's going to finish the job. Back at the mansion, Ok-yoon is startled awake by the screams of the servants. She manages to hide the butler's body under the bed just in time. A maid reminds her that her fiancé, young Kawaguchi, has arrived. If she wants to see this mission through, she has no choice but to force herself to become the real Mitsuko. When she enters the room, she's shocked to find not just Kawaguchi, but Hwang as well. Kawaguchi introduces Hwang as his hand-picked head of security for the wedding. First, Hwang doesn't notice the deception, until Mitsuko mentions a specific cafe in Shanghai and asks Hwang, in front of everyone, if he speaks Korean. Since Kawaguchi doesn't understand a word of Korean, Ok-yoon uses the language as a secret code to reveal her plan to Hwang. She tells him that the real Mitsuko is dead and that she plans to use the wedding ceremony as a final chance to gun down Inguk and the elder Kawaguchi. She knows full well it's a suicide mission. Hwang can't bear the thought of the woman he loves walking into a death trap alone. Even though she subtly warns him to stay away, Hwang looks her dead in the eye and promises, "I'll be there tomorrow." For his great service to the empire, the traitor Suk-jin is promoted to a high-ranking investigative officer in the Japanese Special Forces. His first act? A brutal raid on the tavern. The owner knows she can't escape, and she refuses to let these lapdogs torture her. After ensuring Saksapo receives one last crucial piece of information, she takes her own life. The day of the wedding arrives. Ok-yoon, escorted by her father Inguk, begins her walk down the aisle. Little do the guests know, Saksapo is already in position, lurking silently on the roof of the elevator. Both of them have prepared themselves for death today. Hwang enters the hall as security, but it doesn't take long for Suk-jin to spot him. To avoid causing a scene and ruining the wedding, Suk-jin stays his hand for the moment, waiting for the perfect time to strike. Suk-jin secretly escorts Hwang away from the main hall. Inside, the ceremony is in full swing as the two fathers bow to one another. Ok-yoon has her rifle aimed directly at Inguk, but Saksapo, unaware she's even there, strikes first. His bullets tear through the air, taking down the Japanese guards instantly. General Kawaguchi is hit and badly wounded, but his men quickly scramble to shield him. Seeing Saksapo drawing all the enemy fire, Ok-yoon realizes this is her window. She grabs her pistol, guns down the two nearest guards, and then, right in front of the horrified young Kawaguchi, she empties her entire magazine into the elder Kawaguchi. Saksapo finally spots her and realizes they're working as a team. He hurls a grenade toward the stairs, blowing them to pieces and completely cutting off any hope for Japanese reinforcements. Meanwhile, Okayun pulls out a spare magazine hidden on her leg. She has one target left, Inguk. But suddenly, young Kawaguchi rushes in front of him. He can't fathom how his innocent, fragile fiancé transformed into this lethal warrior, but in this moment, it's a matter of life and death. With the room sealed off and reinforcements blocked, Sukjin plays a dirty trick. Because Suksapo doesn't know Sukjin is a traitor yet, he's caught off guard. Sukjin takes advantage of that split second and pumps several bullets into him. Suksapo fires back with everything he has until his gun clicks empty. But the mission isn't over yet. Suksapo knows that if his position falls, Okayun is a dead woman. Under Sukjin's command, the Japanese soldiers charge again. Suksapo is down to his very last grenade. Just as things look hopeless, Huang appears, dual-wielding guns and letting lead fly in every direction. His overwhelming firepower forces Sukjin to retreat once more. Huang tosses a gun to Suksapo, who uses the last of his strength to hold the line, sacrificing himself to give Okayun a fighting chance. Okayun uses her rifle to kick open the door to Inguk's private room. As she steps toward him, gun in hand, the truth finally hits Inguk like a ton of bricks. The girl he killed earlier wasn't the assassin. It was his eldest daughter, Mitsuko. He killed his wife 20 years ago, and now he has killed his own child. Inguk begins to weep, putting on a show of repentance. He shamelessly claims that everything he did, every betrayal, was all for their family. But while he's talking, his hand is secretly creeping toward a hidden gun. Just as Okayun hesitates for a split second, Inguk makes his move, but a bullet tears through Inguk's throat before he can fire. It was Huang standing behind him who pulled the trigger first. Afterward, Huang reveals the dark ending of that father-killing alliance he mentioned before. Every one of those noble sons ended up taking their own lives, unable to live with the guilt of what they had done. All except for one man, who became a heartless killing machine. A man who knows only money and has no soul left. That man was Huang. He reveals that he was the one who killed his own father, and because of that burden, he refuses to let Okayun carry the same guilt or live the rest of her life in the shadows. His only goal now is to get Okayun back to Korea safely. The independence fighter sees young Kawaguchi, knowing he's their ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. Meanwhile, Suksapo is drawing his final breaths. As they emerge into the lobby, they are met with a wall of rifles. But in the eyes of the Japanese, Okayun is still the elder sister, Mitsuko. Suddenly, Sukjin appears on the scene. Even his presence can't stop them. Fearing for Kawaguchi's safety, the Japanese soldiers don't dare not fire. But more and more reinforcements are closing in. Even a man as skilled as Huang knows they are cornered. Just then, a car smashes into the scene. It's young Gam, arriving in the nick of time to rescue his boss. Under the stunned gaze of the army, they manage to escape. Okayun tells Huang about a secret exit in the tavern's basement, but Sukjin has already ordered his men to surround the entire building. Sukjin raises a white flag for one last negotiation. He tells Huang that if he releases the two hostages, he'll arrange a safe passage out. Keep in mind, Sukjin still thinks Okayun is actually Mitsuko. Huang agrees, promising to release the first hostage in 10 minutes. But once they are back inside, Huang doesn't hesitate. He executes young Kawaguchi on the spot. He then turns to Okayun. He wants her to walk out alone and save herself, while he and young Gam take the tunnel. They make a pact to meet again at that cafe in Shanghai for a real date. Huang gives Okayun one final kiss on her forehead, then grabs her, pretending she's his hostage, and walks out of the tavern. He announces he'll release the hostages in 10 minutes, and under Sukjin's watchful eye, Okayun gets into a getaway car and vanishes. The moment the Japanese raid the tavern, Huang and young Gam are already deep in the escape tunnel. They talk about how, if they survive this, they absolutely have to visit Hawaii. In those final moments, young Gam finally admits he respects Huang's choice today, because he, too, refuses to live like a castrated pig. But when they emerge from the tunnel, they realize they've walked into a trap. The street is eerily silent. No one is in sight. They are completely surrounded. Huang has to watch as young Gam is gunned down right before his eyes. Using his last ounce of strength, Huang draws a dagger and staggers toward Sukjin. But the blade never finds its mark. Huang dies right there at the feet of the man who betrayed them all. Fast forward to 1945. Japan officially surrenders and retreats from Korea. That day, Kim Koo sits in a quiet room and pours a glass of wine. This drink isn't just to celebrate independence. It's a tribute. He hopes the next generation will never forget the heroes who sacrificed everything for the freedom they enjoy today. In 1949, at a national trial in Seoul, The two-faced traitor Suk-jin finally stands in the prisoner's dock. The crowd screams, calling him a traitor to the blood. But Suk-jin isn't finished with his lies. He rips off his shirt, pointing to every scar on his body, claiming they are medals of honor from his service to the nation. Since everyone who knew the truth is dead, the public starts to fall for his twisted narrative. They begin to believe he's a hero. With no witnesses left to prove his crimes, he continues to live in the highest glory of the country. But will the flow of history really let him off that easily? Walking down the street one day, he spots a familiar face. She looks exactly like the woman he saved all those years ago. He chases her into a secluded courtyard, only to find that this is his real trial. Waiting there is a disabled old man, the very comrade Suk-jin shot and left for dead years ago. It's in this moment that Suk-jin realizes the truth. The person he saved that day wasn't Mitsuko, it was Ok-yoon. The bullets of revenge finally tear into Suk-jin. But, as the narrator points out, this ending is just a beautiful wish from the director. In reality, so many blood-stained criminals were never purged. Instead, they held onto their power and wealth in modern Korea. Will future generations even be able to tell the heroes from the villains? As she kills Suk-jin, there isn't a single smile on Ok-yoon's face. Perhaps her heart died a long time ago, back in Shanghai in 1931. That was the year she met a group of like-minded souls. Her comrades, her friends, and the love of her life. Sadly, those people are all gone now. Her smile stayed behind in those years, locked away in those unforgettable, fading memories.